Hey everybody, I have a new scrapbook process video for you today. I'm going to be using my H2KAKWS style for January. This is the hot beverage one. You can see there I have a photo and I have a story that goes with this photo that I want to make sure to get documented. If you haven't seen the breakdown of this kit yet, you are more than welcome to check it out over on my channel. It would have gone up January 2nd. I'm also kind of showing you a sketch that I went ahead and drew out to give me an idea of how I want to work with this photo and what I want to do. I really want to use some of these frames in maybe an unusual way. I'm going to use my metal dies and the stamp set that I had put with my kit. So I'm just kind of going through stuff. I am going to set the kind of more coffee themed things aside because my project today really doesn't have anything to do with coffee, although it technically kind of does because we're talking about early morning wake-up calls. This is a story about before Morgan got his driver's license. Fitz and I had to get up at 6 a.m. and go pick him up from work. And so I just want to document that period of time in this kind of document that part of parenting, I guess. So I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to pick out which things I think will go with my story, which things I think will look nice with my layout, and then we'll get started on going ahead and grabbing and cutting things apart and getting things together. I went ahead and cut apart those vellum sheets I had chosen. I cut out that star I wanted to use. I did all of my journaling and created a journaling box. And now I'm going to work on my layers. Okay, so while I do this, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where my inspiration came from for these layers and how I put them together. So I am someone who takes inspiration from lots of paper crafting sources, not just scrapbooking. So if you were to go in and look at my subscriptions, you'll see I am subscribed to card makers. I am subscribed to Traveler's Notebook makers. I am subscribed to Planner Girls. And I'm also subscribed to a lot of people that do junk journals. In fact, I love junk journals, but for me, I need some sort of purpose, and junk journals don't necessarily provide a purpose. They're just more like an art form. And while I love them and I watch tons and tons and tons of scrapbooker or junk journalers online, there are a few that add photos and journaling and all that kind of stuff, but quite a number of them are it is a artistic or creative kind of pastime, which totally cool. Anyway, this month in January is like this whole junk journal January thing, and there are so many junk journalers that are participating, people I watch, people I love, and I have been watching a lot of those videos. One of the coolest things, and one of the reasons I absolutely love to watch junk journaling videos, is because those girls know how to layer and tear and rip and make the coolest collaged pages from like the smallest itty bitty scraps of stuff. So I was super inspired by those junk journalers to add these like torn, ripped, almost collaged together little pieces behind my photo today. So that's where a lot of the inspiration is coming from, as I kind of cut these teeny tiny little papers and ink them up with my Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. And like, I was just totally in that mood. And I love how this turned out. I love how these layers turned out. I love all these little bits and pieces that I was able to kind of layer up behind my photo. And it is so cool. And I just thought I would share that with you, that so often I take inspiration from those types of paper crafters and then give it my own spin and think about how I can pair it with stories and photos and the products I have here to create my layouts. So this is a very junk journal inspired layout. So I'm tearing and cutting and inking. I'm going to add vellum, these vellum pieces from one of those Webster's Pages cut apart sheets. And my plan is actually every piece of paper that I cut into is a scrap, and I'm using all, except for one of the 6x6 paper sheets, and I am using all of the little pieces, every little piece. That's how I just went for it. And I think it turned out, I'm so happy with how this layout turned out. I had this vision in my head. I've been watching all of these girls doing their junk journals, and I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can be inspired by all of those stunning, beautiful layers and torn edges and create a scrapbook page. So there's my journaling. You can see I do actually have quite a bit of journaling there. And I say this all the time, if I have the story and I have the journaling and I know that I need to, I'm inspired by the photo and I know that there's a story that I want to document, I am totally fine with journaling. It's just not something that I force myself to do. If I've got it, I've got it. And if I don't, I don't. So I'm following my sketch pretty closely. I've got my photo with all the layers. I've got my journaling, and that top piece of vellum up there, that's where I'm going to go ahead and adhere my title, which I've already started building. So I've gone ahead and created some faux thickers with metal dies. I cut each of the letters twice in white cardstock and then a third time in this light blue color that perfectly matches the patterns that are in the color that is in my layout, that light blue. When I came back and edited this, I did notice that on the page in the pictures, it kind of looks like this title piece kind of blends in, but in person you can totally see it and it's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere most of my title down, but not all of it. So I have that first bit of title adhered to the vellum, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to very carefully add just a little bit of tape behind where the letters are and get that vellum piece down. And then for the last part of my title, I'm going to stamp that part of my title. So I'm just going to trim off that extra vellum that's on the edge. And then I'm going to pull out my ginormous Misty, one of my favorite go-to tools. And I use it all the time. I know that they are a bit of have a steep price point, but you guys, worth its weight in gold, these are. So I'm going to lay my Misty down. I'm going to go ahead and grab some icing on the cake ink from Catherine Pooler. And I have this beautiful alphabet set. Now you'll notice I'm not using the door. The Misty is more than just the door. In addition, you have that door element, so you get everything kind of put where you want. But then the bottom part of the Misty is like the most perfect stamping surface. So for this particular layout, I just want to spell out boy, not a big deal. And I don't need the door for that. What I need is that stamping surface on the stamp platform to give me a nice, clean impression. Love, 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 love my Misty. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out that last letter of my title. So now my title's is done, and the title is waiting for his boy. His being the dog and the boy being Morgan. And now that I have my title finished, I can go ahead and decide how I'm going to embellish with these frames. So I have these 2 star die cuts. These are from that cut apart collection from Ashley Horton over at the Cut Shop. And I am going to layer over and under with some of those frames, and I'm going to use some of the chipboard alphabets that are in this that are on this sheet as well. I'm going to create some clusters. I'm also going to kind of use the frames to kind of frame out some of the torn paper edges And I'm going to move them around a little bit as I decide like where I want everything to go. I'm not thinking about these. I'm not thinking of these in terms of frames. I'm thinking about them just as square embellishments that I can place on different areas of my layout. And I think that that helps me to be able to use many more of them than maybe I would have if I had been solely viewing them as just a frame. So now I'm just going to adhere these frames and the arrows all down to my page, and I'm giving them a really good press down. Like I am pushing super hard on this chipboard because it is old. It's old product. It's from my stash. I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna like stick good or not. So far it appears to be, doing good, but it might need some glue. I don't know. I'm just really using all of the pressure to kind of adhere that chipboard down. Once all those pieces are down, we are going to call this layout finished. Thank you. Oh, I can't talk. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys all have a fabulous weekend. I am catching up on editing videos today, so you should probably have a nice stock of videos to watch all weekend long. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.